This is Kasha Mitchell with Arizona Home Consultants, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Val Holzhueter and Don Wendel of the Fountain Hills Lions Club. I'm super excited about this conversation. We have talked briefly, but very briefly, and so a lot of this information is going to be really a first-time education for me as well as everybody else. And let's get started. Don is the president of the Lions Club in Fountain Hills. Don, how'd you get connected with the Lions Club?
Well, thanks, Kasha, for doing this, first of all. And the way I got involved with it was I was a Lions Club member in Minnesota, specifically New Ulm, Minnesota. And when I retired 7 years ago, I wanted to stay active. And so I searched out what Lions Clubs are available, and we actually started the Lions Club. I'm a charter member of it, along with a few other Lions members. We started the club then 5 years ago.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. So you moved from Minnesota to Fountain Hills, decided to start a new chapter there.
Yeah, I've always been a person that volunteers in various things, and I wanted to stay active in retirement. And I knew what Lions Clubs have done in Minnesota, and so that's why I wanted to get involved.
Very cool. Yeah. That's amazing. Val, what brought you into Lions?
Yeah, I retired from a full-time career as fundraiser and had been coming down to Fountain Hills since 2010 part-time, just 2 weeks out of the fall and 2 weeks in the spring, but had met Don. He used to live in our development, housing development, and when I became fully retired, I knew that I had a void that I needed to fill as far as serving people, and he asked me if I wanted to become a member of the Lions, and I thought, why not? It was just an opportunity to serve the community that I love, that we just live in temporarily. We live here about 4 months out of the year, 5 months maybe.
Okay.
But love the community and wanted to do my part to become involved in the Lions Club.
I think it's kind of fun. One thing we all share is that love for that community. And it's so interesting to me that you said there's a void I needed to fill, because I feel like a lot of people enter into a service organization looking to fill something. And so I think it's so beautiful that that's your response to that. And I love it.
Thank you.
I also love that you're involved and you're a part-time resident, because I think a lot of times when people are in transition, it's really easy to say, well, I'm not here full-time, or, you know, I'm traveling, I'm on vacation, I'm this, and they don't do it. And Don, when he told me about you, told me what an outstanding person you are and how incredibly involved you get. And I just think it's amazing that you're doing that part-time and why you're doing it. So,
well, I've always been a volunteer. I did have a couple paid positions in my life, but a lot of my time was spent volunteering. And it's just, for me, very gratifying. And I have since come to find out that one of the aspects of a long life is becoming involved in your community and volunteering. So I'd like to do that as well at the same time as I'm serving my community. So
I love that, and I love that point too. I think there's a Netflix series, the Live to Be 100. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not.
It's excellent. They have all of these breakdowns of what extends people's lives, and it is absolutely true that the communities are more connected, the people live longer in those blue zones. Come with community connection, and
I have seen the Blue Zone Netflix series.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it was mentioned in there, yes,
yeah,
about the community service and being involved in community. But yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And we live in an exceptional community in terms of that. It's
I do believe so. Yes.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's awesome. So I understand you brought some notes to teach me all about Lions Club. Who wants to start? Let's do this.
Okay, I'll start out. 5 years ago, we got the initiative going about the Peace Poster Contest. Peace Poster Contests are something that the Lions do all over the world, actually. And so we connected with art teachers in Fountain Hills, and we showed them what we do with the Lions Club with peace posters.
And then you brought us an example, which I absolutely love. I can, if you want, I might have a...
So what we have here is an example of one of the students and what they did. This is a contest that we put on each year for ages 11, 12, and 13-year-olds. And every year we have a theme. And this year was Peace Without Borders. Aww. And it gets kids to think about peace in the world. And then what we do is we'll have judges in Fountain Hills. Fountain Hills is a real art community. And so there are plenty of artists there that are willing to donate their time to judge these posters, and then we give out cash prizes to the students.
That is amazing. I have 2 children that were incredibly involved in art, and so my heart is heavy with that, with kids in art. I actually teach at my daughter's school art masterpiece occasionally, and there's something so beautiful and so innocent in this. It's fun to see this particular representation. They've got sushi and trees and, on top of each flag, there is something that is representative of that country. So that is awesome. Is this one of the winners' posters?
This was a winning poster, but not for this year. It was a previous year.
Gotcha.
But still, it's just kind of indicative of what kids in Fountain Hills can do if you just show them the way, I guess. And since the Lions Club really promotes peace, that's where kids get their imagination going and put it out on paper.
I love it. So. My understanding is the Lions Club does quite a few things with kids that are really pretty exceptional. And we can follow your flow, or there are some numbers that were really exciting to me when I actually met another member of the Lions Club at the American Legion. She volunteers playing bingo, so clearly your club is like beautiful hearts volunteering in all sorts of places, but she was talking about vision testing in the school.
Yes.
Is that your department? Are you telling me
about
this?
That is my department, yes, absolutely. We do vision screening, and we do not work within the public schools because they have their own screening. So we decided to go into the preschool and the daycare options.
Okay.
And so this is our second year of doing vision screening in Fountain Hills, and we have, over the past 2 years, reached out to 220 children. The youngest being 6-month-old, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of testing the vision of a 6-month-old, but we can do that. And so we can do 6 months to 100. We haven't done anybody in the older age category, but we have reached out to the younger ones. We do it. We go into the facility. Typically, these are daycare facilities or preschools.
Okay.
And it's pretty cute because we have these little kids who are, kind of nervous and kind of jumpy and, a little bit curious about what's going on. Yeah. And we just have them look at us. And with this little item, it's called a Welsh Allen Spot Vision Screener. And it's kind of like we take a picture of their eyes. And that can automatically, within seconds, determine a lot of the risk factors that little children can have: nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, and various other risk factors. So we can identify those. And when you think about it, what preschooler, what parents are thinking about vision screening or issues with their children's eyes that can impact their learning? So 10% of the students that we reach out to need some vision assistance at some point. And so it's just a great way to get them early on with the possibility of glasses or just awareness of what's going on with their eyes that could impact their learning in future years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've, like I said, reached out to 220 kids, and 26 of those children needed attendance by a physician.
And they were unaware of it
They
prior
were
to your
unaware of
testing.
it. Unaware of it.
That is amazing.
And then we partner with the Fountain Hills Tax Credit Foundation to provide vouchers to qualifying families for eyeglasses and eye exams. So we even have an opportunity to help with the financing involved with an eye exam for the little ones, and possibly glasses.
Problem and solution.
Problem
I
and
love
solution,
it.
excellent. And that's a great benefit that I think Don has established with the Fountain Hills Tax Credit Foundation this year.
So cool.
That we've been able to partner with them to provide that financial assistance.
Yeah, they actually came to me. One of the people on that board came to me and said that they've noticed we're doing a good job identifying eye problems, and they wanted to help by then giving these vouchers out to these kids. And it's really, last year when I ran into one of the students again that we had in one of the schools, and here he was with his glasses. He was so happy to see the fact that he can now see the board, that he could now see the computer and not be frustrated, and it was neat to see that we identified that problem for him and his parents.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
In third grade, my son was in Montessori. He got a new teacher, and she said, I think he needs his eyes tested because he was really math and art heavy, but he would not do reading. And I'd actually tried homeschooling him at one point, and it was exceptionally frustrating, the reading portion of it. And turned out his eyes did not team. So they moved at different rates.
Okay.
And there were some exercises that needed to be done. He got some corrective eyewear as well. But I was completely oblivious to it. And I was in this Montessori, process where they're like, oh, don't worry if they don't want to do this. They'll get to it eventually. But I always wonder how it would have impacted him if we had caught that sooner. Because sometimes young kids don't have the language to tell you,
absolutely,
no,
this is what's happening.
Right.
Well, and as a parent, you've got so many issues going on. There's just so many things that you have your alertness out for, and it may or may not be vision awareness. So we feel like we're really happy doing this for parents and families and kids. Yeah.
And I love that connectivity in the community, which I see all the time in Fountain Hills, is just there's a need here and somebody else sees somebody doing good and steps up. Part of the reason I do these podcasts is in hopes that more people will step up, that people will, have some window into you and go, oh, those people are lovely. I should get involved with them. I'm passionate about children seeing too.
Yeah.
Well, we do engage, we do allow volunteers to help us with our projects. It doesn't always have to be a member of the Lions Club. In fact, this year when we did the vision screening, I was not able to be part of it. I was back home in Minnesota. But we had two retired teachers, if I'm not correct, right?
Two retired teachers.
That one was a librarian and one was a teacher, and so we engaged them in helping, and they just loved it because their whole career was spent working with students and children, and they're able to help through the Lions Club to be back connected with students again. Yep. So it was fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We're just more than happy to have these people helping, and we call them friends of the Lions. And I think, sometimes people don't want to necessarily be a member, but they want to help in some ways. So you just identify them and say, hey, we're doing this project today. Can you help? They're the friends of the Lions.
Yeah, so you can take the Lions for a test drive.
Yep, that's right.
And you can remain a friend or you can become an operator.
Exactly. Good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me what else you all do.
Yeah, well, we also, for the first year we've done it 2 years. First year for me this year, we did food packing for the Food for Kids. And that was another opportunity to engage Friends of the Lions. We had 4 of our Lions members there, but we also brought in some spouses and some other people, some family members, and we packed food for the kids. Food for Kids, it's called. And I don't know how many we packed, our group, but 120,000 food packs were established or were made to serve.
That's what the total was. We were in the community center, the big ballroom there, and there was probably in there, I would say, 200 volunteers from different organizations. And then we were packing this food, And like I said, the total was over 120 or 30,000 packages.
That's
it's like an
insane.
assembly line, where you start out and you weigh, making sure it's the right amount of ingredients and put into a package, like a cereal package for them.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's
And I have to
lovely.
say, the Food for Kids organization know what they're doing. I mean,
Yep.
they've got a routine down, and they have volunteers that are making sure that every table that's filling these food packets have enough quantity of food there, and they provided music, and it was just. It really was another wonderful event that Fountain Hills is part of that brings community members together in support of Fountain Hills and their families and the need that's there for
love
everyone.
it.
So we really enjoyed that. One of our top priorities is to donate to Extended Food Hands Food Bank in Fountain Hills. So we also do that. We've brought the president of that organization in to kind of fill us in on what's going on there and what the need is. So we contribute financially to that organization. She's the president of that has put a extension out there for us to come and help when they distribute, when they open up their doors for people to come in and pick up their food. We haven't done that yet, but that's going to be on the radar for next year when the snowbirds come back to Arizona. So
Yeah. She is an exceptional individual. Her
She's-
name is escaping me
Yeah,
right
me
now.
too.
Allison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
her story is great. She's her grandfather actually started the food bank, and she's that next generation. They skipped a generation, but she's certainly passionate about what she does, and that's what it takes.
yeah.
Yep.
So
you're
much
serving- For sure.
energy and so
Yep.
much passion behind her.
Yeah. So that was super fun that we brought her in, and she shared her enthusiasm and her excitement about Fountain Hills and about the food bank and her desire to serve the families of Fountain Hills.
And they serve families every single week, and there are with perishable goods, non-perishable goods.
Correct.
It is really exceptional. Things that I didn't know is that they need grocery bags. All the grocery bags that you take and you recycle. You walk those into the food bank, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Thank you so much."
I did not
Plastic-
know
Yeah,
that.
Those
so-
plastic bags. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You need those. Yep.
Yep,
Mhm.
and food packers, and the day I went in, I was getting over a cough, and I didn't realize that it had some outdoor features too. It was kind of cold, and I excused myself when my cough was a little bit
Sure.
concerning
Yeah.
to other people. So
Ah,
I'm excited to go back and do it as well. I got to take the little tour and
Yeah.
understand the process, but
Yep.
you don't want to be
Don,
sick in public.
do you remember how many families she said they serve on a week? 55?
I think it was at least 50 or 75 families each week.
That is so
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Again, community working together, doing absolutely beautiful things we couldn't do alone.
Yeah, and we're able to, donate money to them because we do have fundraisers like 50-50 raffles. We have other things like silent auction items that we'll put out there from donations. Val's been good about getting a donation from a wildlife artist.
Yeah, Russ Fields is actually from Minnesota.
Okay.
I don't know how many years he's been in Arizona, but I started following him on Facebook. I grew up with horses, and I'm very attracted to there's a big long word for it, the wild horses out on the border of Fountain Hills. And he takes pictures of these wild horses and posts them on Facebook Connection.
I love that.
On the Fountain Hills Connection Facebook page. And so I reached out to him when I got involved with the Lions Club and asked, would you be willing to donate a photo? Which he said yes to.
Yeah.
So he's now done that 2 years in a row. We hope to have a raffle for his second photo in the fall.
Okay.
But we did do a very so kudos to Russ Fields for donating. His pictures are amazing. I love to. In fact, I bought one. He took a picture of 3 horses, and it was a complete example of my 3 boys. And so I have it hanging in my living room. So I love to work with him and see what he is willing to donate to the Lions Club. But Don did a 50-50 raffle this year, and that was super successful. And I actually was not totally in favor of it, but Don kind of did it on his own.
Well, I didn't do it just on my own. I mean, I had a couple other people selling tickets before this event we were at. But basically, when you approach people and you tell them that half of the money goes to you and half goes to the organization, they kind of like that. It seems to be a pretty popular way to raise money, I think, in Fountain Hills. You see 50-50 raffles all over, actually. And so we voted to do that. So then I was selling tickets ahead of time before this event, and so were some other members selling tickets. And then at the event, which was at Morningstar Assisted Living, and they had a Western Day there about last Friday, I believe it was. Nice. And then during that, then the band that was playing there would announce, that the raffle is up to this much, and everybody's getting excited about the fact that they could win half. And so at the end of the day, we had almost $1,000 in there. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And so the winner was notified, which that person would get half, And when I called the winner, he said to me, "Why don't I just donate it back?" And I said, "Well, wow, this is great." So, at any rate, that was a good cause, which will then allow us to donate to more things coming up next year.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
By the way, the winner was a Fountain Hills community member.
Yeah, right.
Resides in Fountain Hills.
Yeah.
So
exactly. It strengthens my Fountain Hills obsession.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Ours
For sure.
also. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that was a very successful event. Yeah.
That is awesome. My understanding is that Morningstar is really supportive of your club.
Yeah, Morningstar, since the very beginning, has supported us by allowing us to meet there, and also to donate money to a few different things that we've been doing in the last 5 years. The original director there, Laura Olson, she was one of the members that started our club, along with a few other of us charter members. And she has moved on to a different place now, a different job out of state. But the new director there, Kathy Leonard, also is very supportive of us, and is also a Lions. She just joined as a Lions member too. And so they're very supportive. I asked this year our club if we wouldn't recognize a business that has supported us since the beginning. And so we voted to give them a plaque, and it says "Friend of the Fountain Hills Lions Club," and which they're very deserving of it because they've been helping since the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you think about an organization such as ours, we don't have a permanent meeting space. We don't have an office space. So we work outside of that, and it's great to have that opportunity to meet there on a regular basis. We know where we're going to be meeting, and our members know, and they're very welcoming to us. So
yeah, that's
very deserving of a business that has supported us.
That is so incredible. And just that consistency of knowing where you're going to be, knowing your people are going to be there, it definitely it makes it a little bit more accessible. I tend to be really hesitant to go to new places. I like predictable experiences. If I'm going into a situation that I'm not familiar with, I want a buddy, And so I just think it's lovely that they provide that for you, that you are able to meet on a regular basis, and that you are able to operate without walls.
Right.
Because walls come with expenses. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And another thing, Kasha, that's so interesting, when I go over there for the start of the meeting, invariably somebody that's a resident there will come up to me and say, "Hey, I was a Lions Club member in New Jersey or in some other state."
Yeah.
And they'll talk about their experience of what they did for Lions there. you have to realize that Lions Clubs are the largest service organization in the world.
Oh, wow.
We have almost 1.5 million members in the world. Okay, so you're going to run into a Lions Club member somewhere, and when they come up to me and talk about their experience, it's just great actually meeting at Morningstar and hearing their story about what they did.
Now, I know the Rotary has pins, and they wear their pins out, and I see your pins on the vest. Is that one? Is that specific to the vest? Is that something you wear into the community on a regular basis? Tell me more about your swag.
Well, the colors are Lions colors, the gold and blue. That's something that's been there since day one. The pins themselves will honor people for things that they do. Maybe they brought in a new member, so now they get a new member pin.
Awesome.
Or maybe they were a member for a certain number of years, so they get these pins.
Very cool.
So we wear them on the vest, and
Don has a few more pins than I do.
We're not keeping count.
Good.
No, we don't keep count of what we do. We
I have
just
no pins. Lots of pins, some pins, no pins.
Right.
Yeah. And then they'll exchange pins too. Like our district governor was at our last meeting when we inducted 2 new members, and they also exchange pins with you too at times. So
I love it.
yeah.
We're still, relatively young, relatively new. We have 17 members.
Yep, 17 members.
And of course, with every meeting, that number varies.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're still relatively young and still relatively small, trying to encourage more members of the community to be a part of our group so that we can do more within the community.
What kind of time commitment does it typically take if you wanted to get involved with the Lions Club? What would you be looking at?
Well, the way I look at it is, getting involved in a project. I mean, if we're doing eyesight testing, this last year it took us probably 20 total hours testing those 200 and some children. And that's man hours, so if you take 3 people doing it, I mean, you're sitting in a classroom, you're sitting in a school waiting for the, waiting for the kids to come in and get their eyes tested. The testing takes only 2 seconds if you can get them to focus in on the instrument. But then you're, sitting waiting.
Yeah.
But, time commitments, depending upon what projects we do, isn't a lot of time. It's just being there.
Yeah.
And wanting to do something that benefits the community. That's the way I look at it. So,
it seems like a very flexible way to, you can kind of, if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, you can kind of decide how often you want to be a part of it. So are there monthly meetings?
Yeah, monthly meetings, first Tuesday of each month at Morningstar. It's Morningstar Building at 5:30 p.m. We do have monthly meetings. We're off for the summer because we don't meet. A lot of groups don't meet in the summer because it's only, 120 degrees out or something. So we're off like from May through September. But
Summer is our winter in Arizona.
That's right,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's certainly nice to have people come to meetings, but it's also better if they'll volunteer when we do a project and be dependable and help.
Yeah.
Which we've never had a problem with people helping, stepping
awesome.
forward. So,
and Don is very good as the president of the organization to not force people to do things that they aren't super keen about. So if there's a situation that you can't attend a meeting, Don's good about doing a Zoom meeting so that some of us, like I was up in Minnesota more of the time than I wanted to be this year, and but I was able to Zoom in on the meetings, and so
that's
and
excellent.
he also sends out an email during the summer to keep us engaged in what's going on, what activities he's still involved in, so that those people who are snowbirds and a part of our group can still be aware of what's going on. That we're
love
still
it.
doing things during the summer months.
It's a fun way to stay connected to
absolutely.
home away from home.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You know, one thing that I've always believed in is reaching out to new people in Fountain Hills. So what I will do is during the summer, we get the subscription to the Fountain Hills paper. And then what I'll do is look at who's the new business that's coming to town and send them out a little letter saying, hey, welcome to Fountain Hills. We hope you do well in your business. And also, here's our Lions Club information if you'd like to check us out.
Nice.
And it's sort of like a welcome wagon. You know, back in the day, that's what they were called, you know, as welcome wagons. And you'd get them all this stuff, you know, like where's the town hall? Where's the community center? Here's how you get membership in these things. And so I think of it that way, as a way to welcome a new business into town.
I love it.
So
I have owned small businesses throughout my life, litigation support services and a custom cake shop. And they can be remarkably challenging, and it can feel incredibly isolating when you're the full team, you know, when you've got to have your head down and provide the service or the goods and do the ordering and manage the people. And so I think it's exceptional. It's actually one of the things in Fountain Hills that I kind of cling to is that strange sense of small town community that I feel like has been lost in most places.
I would agree.
So I think that is an absolutely beautiful thing that you're doing.
well, you know, I mean, I've gotten feedback on it too when I go back into the business when I come back in October, and I say, hey, you know, I was the guy that sent you that letter. How's your business doing?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we want people to be successful in life, right? We all do.
Absolutely.
And we're just part of welcoming them, you know, to be successful. So anyway, it's kind of funny, too, how they remember that letter, you know. Sometimes you get a lot of letters, you know, and you kind of like throw them away or something. But you know.
I don't think we get many personal letters
Maybe not
anymore.
personal letters.
Yeah.
It's all emails. That's true. This is a personal letter that I send their clipping of their paper right to them, too. Aww. So anyway, that's something I've always done, you know, when I was working when I had a business too. So anyway,
I love it.
I think the two businesses that I as we're talking about businesses that we've reached out to that have been super supportive of the Lions Club is the Messenger, the Fountain Hills Messenger.
Okay.
They have been extremely supportive in posting pictures of activities that we've done. So we like that. We like to see our pictures in the paper of things that we're supporting Fountain Hills. And the other one that I think, you know, we kind of forgot, but I recalled as we're talking is Valley View Cafe. Mountain View, excuse me, Mountain View Cafe. They do a roundup for us, a roundup fundraising event where for each ticket, food purchase, when you pay, you have the ability to round up. And whatever that roundup amount is comes back to the Lions Club.
Wow, that's incredible.
So not many businesses have that opportunity or willingness to do that. But we've been very thankful that Mountain View Restaurant and Cafe has done that for us. And they do that for us in the month of January.
Oh, cool.
So all of their sales get, you know, those that choose to do that just round up to the next dollar.
That's amazing.
And then she gives us that roundup money.
And
so that's part of our fundraising.
I love that business because the story of how they started and just that it's got that small town Southern care. You know, it's like walking into a little hug.
Yeah, it is.
That's
exactly.
true. Walking into a hug. Okay. Yeah.
So they do so many exceptional things. I know
Sounds like
when we reconnected, it was at the State of the Town address, and she had catered that.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what else have you? I see notes and things.
Yeah,
what else you got?
Well, I'm really excited about this, Kasha, because of the fact that the environment is such an important thing that Lions clubs do all over the world. And we had a speaker that came into our club from the Fire Watch program in Fountain Hills, and she talked about preparing your home for potential fires. Now, of course, what happened in California, we don't want to see happen in Fountain Hills. And we have a lot of these washes, draws, there's a lot of vegetation in there. So she came in and spoke to us about that. So that was one thing that I wanted to just talk about today, is the importance for your community to be vigilant about vegetation that's growing around your property and remove it before there potentially could be a fire and could definitely wipe out your home. So I want to talk about that, but I wanted to really talk too about the stormwater pollution that could be a problem.
Okay.
Now, Fountain Hills, this is a map of Fountain Hills and all of the washes that are there.
Oh, wow.
All those blue lines that you see there. And they eventually drain to the Verde River. Now, the town of Fountain Hills has stormwater pollution brochures, okay? And I took it upon myself to go and talk to one of the schools, Inspiration Academy, and talk to the kids about why it's important not to dump sediment, fertilizers, pesticides, motor oils, and yard waste, pet waste, paints, solvents, and litter into the storm drains.
Yeah.
And so, because it eventually goes to the river. We know it, because of gravity, things are going to travel downhill. And what I've got the kids doing now is checking out their storm drains around their property to see if they're labeled as an awareness piece, because some of the storm drains have these little awareness pieces. It's called Dump No Waste Drains to River. It's a little medallion that's on those drains, but not every drain has one. And I've done this homework assignment for myself. I've walked around where we live and cataloged where these drains are and which ones don't have any little emblems to remind people.
Yeah.
So what I've got the kids doing now, and I'm going to find out, I gave them a homework assignment, I'm going to go see them a week from today and see what they found out around their home, wherever they live here in this map, and see what's going on there.
That's a very incredible little army you've mobilized.
Yeah, kids are in a little army, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They are, right? So we'll see what happens with that. But where I got this thinking about was back in Minnesota, I'm on a board called the Friends of the Minnesota Valley. It's a river system that's 200 miles long, and it goes from South Dakota border all the way to St. Paul, Minnesota. And that group what we've been doing there is testing water quality with about 20 different school districts along the river.
Oh, wow.
And we've been testing the quality to make sure that the quality is up to where it should be, and what's going on if the quality is getting worse.
Okay.
And it got me thinking that something in Fountain Hills we could kind of mirror of what we're doing there. Not on that scale, because what we're doing up there is using pretty sophisticated instruments and testing water in various locations, like where Val lives by Mankato, Minnesota, where I live by New Ulm, Minnesota. But at least here in Fountain Hills, just getting people aware of the fact that you don't want to dump stuff down the drain. It's like out of sight, out of mind, right?
Right.
Well, it's not out of mind, it's out of sight, but it's going somewhere, and eventually gets down to New Orleans and to the Gulf of Mexico.
And water is a very interesting thing in Arizona. We have limited resources, and there are a lot of efforts put into preserving our resources, and a lot of technologies, because we don't have the rains like you have in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Right. Our groundwater levels have been shifting, and it's my understanding is that we've done a phenomenal job using what we have, but it is a stewardship. It's something that the more vigilant we continue to be, the future generations are going to benefit from. So,
So Don's starting with the young ones at the Inspiration Academy, and hopefully to create an awareness where they'll grow up and stay in Fountain Hills and be more aware of
their surroundings, their environment, and what they do affects somebody.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's what I being a former teacher, I certainly like to get up in front of people and talk about something that I'm pretty passionate about. And so that was another pillar that the Lions do. And I told the club that I'm gonna start this, and we'll see where it goes.
That is amazing.
Anyway,
I love it. There's something so gratifying about teaching and about seeing the knowledge that you have and the passion that you have. It kind of magnifies it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
What else you got for me? You guys want to... Anything else?
Boy, I think you've gotten a lot of information out of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask, if there was something that the community could do to step up and help you, what would that be?
Well, we would like more members. We certainly would like more members. I mean, because members are your strength. So we're always open to signing up new members. It's $85 a year are our dues. And we meet once a month during the winters, springs, and, fall, winter, and spring. We break during the summer, like I was saying, but we certainly would like more members so we can, do more good things.
I love it.
So,
anything that comes to mind for you?
No, just the meeting time again, and location is at
First Tuesday?
first Tuesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
5
5:30,
p.m.?
5 o'clock,
5:30.
5:30
Yep.
at Morning Star
Yep.
Assisted Living. So yeah.
Thank you both
Yeah.
so much for
Thank
your
you.
time,
Thank you.
for your service to our community, for your hearts to serve. You're setting exceptional examples for young people, everyone, frankly. My heart in doing this is always to get more people involved. I know individuals who know me know that I had a pretty significant loss last year, an exceptionally significant loss, and you guys talk about how it fills a hole, and I want to fill my hole, fill anybody else's hole that I can, and just really bring some awareness to the exceptional community that we live in, the things we can accomplish when we unify, and just like the amazing diversity of volunteer opportunities that there are. If you've got a passion, there's an opportunity, and if you unite with another group of people that's mobilized, even if they're not doing it already, it can become something. So that is my hope in doing this.
Thank you, Kasha, for your
so
passion
much.
for this.
Yeah.
We appreciate the
I'm glad
opportunity.
we met you.
Likewise.
Thank you. You bet.
Likewise. Thank you.